What is up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the next episode of the Three Peaks Fitness Podcast. I'm Coach Mark.
I'm Coach Lynette.
And today we're going to talk about which workout is best for you.
Yeah.
Right?
People have trouble picking their workouts because there is so many choices.
There are so many choices, especially in this day and age. And
they end up going for the flashy ones.
They do, yes.
The
Yes,
one
they
with
do.
the matching backgrounds and the matching outfits and the glitter.
And the glitter and the splats. Anyway. So many of us, a lot of us struggle trying to get into fitness in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Or either that or we struggle with kind of like cyclical fitness where we'll start something.
Yeah.
And then when we get bored, we're like, move on to the next, chances are you'll take like a few months off and say, I need to get back into fitness again. Let me try this time, instead of really just sticking to one thing. But others
right.
you are the complete opposite, right? You find something you like and you just stick
That's
with it.
what I
You
did
run it into
for
the
years.
ground. This you see particularly with runners.
Yeah,
right?
that
Like
was
cardio.
me. That was me. I ran for years.
Yeah. And while it's good that we're being active, this can end poorly depending on the type of workout we're doing, right? So we need to learn to bring balance into all things,
Yeah.
including our workouts.
Yeah. I mean, running's good, but if that's all you're doing, you're missing some things.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So we can, for the purposes of simplicity and this episode, we can basically break workouts down into the following categories, right? So you have your HIIT workouts, which HIIT just stands for high intensity interval training. It's going to be mostly body weight or like lightweight.
Yeah, some dumbbells.
Yeah. Interval training, right?
Yeah.
It's going to jack the heart rate up. You'll get sweaty. You're huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
Then we have cardio, which is more of like a lower intensity, like think like running, walking, rowing. You're going for a long period of time at a lower intensity.
Yeah.
Then you have strength training, which you're using external resistance to stimulate muscle growth. Barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you have like stretching style workout, like yoga style workouts where they're stress reducing, they're skill based types of workouts. And then you'll find hybrids, which are some combination of those different categories. And each of those workout styles change the body in certain ways, but they all have their weaknesses. So, Lynette, do you want to kind of go over what the weaknesses are for HIIT training?
So when you do HIIT training, like we said before, you're using some light dumbbells and you're doing, the interval training, but you might miss out on the greater strength that's available from doing heavier weights. And you might miss out on the submaximal because high intensity is high intensity. So you might be working too hard. You might be pushing yourself too hard and overworking yourself. And then you're also missing out on stretching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so your muscles might get short and tight. You might have a lot of little hard places that develop and impingements and things like that that develop.
Yeah.
Did I get everything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and what about cardio?
The cardio, you might miss out on the endurance part of it, right? So, I mean, it's good to get the heart rate going because it's high intensity and then you get the rest periods, but you may not get a chance to work at that submaximal level. So.
Yeah, and then with cardio as well, one of the things you're missing out on is definitely the strength portion.
Yeah.
The resistance training
if you're doing
portion.
just cardio
like
workout.
if you're just doing cardio.
I thought you meant the cardio in the HIIT, sorry. So, for cardio, you're missing out on the strength.
Yeah, as well as mobility.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Unless, I know a lot of cardio people they do stretch at the end, but not all of us, right?
Yeah.
Just go out for a run and look.
Just the
Good
really
enough.
disciplined people do some stretching and mobility at the end.
And then, so what are some of the things missing if you only do strength training?
Oh, okay. If you're only doing strength, this can be really deceptive because someone that's sort of a gym rat and is working out all the time in the gym, from the outside, they're going to look like the picture of fitness.
Yeah.
Especially if they're really watching what they're eating. And it can be really deceptive because you're like, oh, I'm good. I'm in really good shape. But then they can't help a friend move for an hour. They can't handle it.
Right,
they can't handle the work. They're like, they don't have the stamina, the cardio conditioning to be able to tolerate work for any period of time. It's just
Right.
their sets and then they're done.
Right.
So, and then they might get really short and stiff in some of their muscles, and they might, like we said in another podcast, develop imbalances and impingements because they're not stretching and doing the opposing muscles, they're just doing mirror muscles. So,
Yeah.
strength is hugely important. You can't live without strength training. I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan.
Yeah.
But you need to balance it with some cardio work and some stretching.
Yeah. And some mobility, pliability work.
Yeah, definitely
And
need some
important
pliability.
note, I think when you're doing strength training, you want to make sure that it is a well-rounded
Yes.
strength training program. You always want to make sure everything is well-rounded, but particularly with strength training, it can be very easy to develop those muscular imbalances. If I only go, I did this when I was, in college.
Yeah.
You're worried about the mirror muscles. So
Just the
every
bench.
every day's bench day. Go in, bench no, you do some curls for the girls.
Bench and curls.
Yeah, bench curls, and that can lead to really poor posture, muscular imbalances, all that kind of thing. So it is
Yeah.
important if you're doing a strength training routine. That is lopsided, bringing balance to that, in addition to
Yeah.
cardiovascular training, and mobility work.
And another thing that's really missing in a lot of strength programs, since we're on the subject, is foot, ankle, and calves.
Yeah,
They don't work the foot, ankles, and calves, and
Yep.
that's like building a house without a foundation.
Yes, so important. That is a root of everything.
Yeah.
There's a root.
You can't move, right?
Yeah.
You can't function.
Yeah, we just go listen to that other podcast of ours. The root of your joint pain.
Yeah.
It's your feet are hugely important for you. So, but anyway, so what if I do yoga as my primary
Yoga's great,
exercise
but I see
modality?
it more as a recovery kind of workout. Like that's a great thing to do on your days off from the gym.
Yeah.
Or at the end of a workout. So yeah, it's a fantastic recovery for the body and the mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't.
It's not strength, it's not cardio, it's
Yeah, it's definitely skill based, but it's not really going to make you stronger the way incorporating any sort of resistance training will. If you go
there's a
from
limit to the strength you develop.
if you go from doing nothing to yoga, then
Yeah.
you're going to get stronger. But there's definitely a ceiling there
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
And then with all of these different types of exercise, they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses, no pun intended. So then the goal becomes to offset whatever those weaknesses are of your primary workout modality. So
Yeah.
I know we kind of just glazed over this, right? But let's
So
touch on
if
it
you're a
again. So if you
runner,
do-
right? So
Yeah.
if you're a runner or a cyclist, well, let's just stick with the runners. If you're a runner, then you need to do some upper body strength work.
Yeah.
And you need to work your glutes because when you're running, it's really easy to just completely never use your glutes while you're running.
Yeah.
So you definitely need to do some strength work
Yeah.
if you're a runner.
Yeah. Strength work and pliability work.
Yeah,
Right,
because there's going to
mobility,
be a lot of things
pliability.
that get stiff in your hips and in your shoulders.
Yep. And especially depending on like how your foot lands too, you could develop all kinds of issues with your feet,
Yeah.
ankle, Achilles tendon, tightness, plantar fasciitis.
Yeah,
all
got to
those
stretch
things.
out those calves
Yeah,
big
yeah,
time
yeah.
and the quads. So if you are a spinner or a cyclist, big red flag, you're going to have the same bone problems as an astronaut if you are a spinner or a cyclist. So there's a lot of osteoporosis among people that do only cycling. If you do 7 hours or more a week of cycling, then you're going to lose bone muscle. So you're going to lose bone density. So what you need to do is definitely do strength training. You've
Yeah.
got to add strength training and some jumping in your program to help build those bones up if
Yeah.
you're a cyclist. And it definitely build up that upper body.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Now, what if I'm doing HIIT? What sort of things am I incorporating? If I
Okay.
do like a boot camp style workout as my main
Okay.
fitness
So,
driver.
yeah, you definitely need to add some stretching,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then maybe some strength, although you may feel like you're already doing it because you're using objects while
Yeah.
you're doing the HIIT. You want to add some real strength, some slow moving strength
Yeah,
program, like some slow barbells. Barbells have a great capacity to develop strength.
yeah.
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 So something heavy and slow.
Heavy and slow. Yeah, barbells
Yeah.
are going to be the best tool for developing real strength.
Yeah.
Those objects you might be using, kettlebells,
Yeah.
lighter dumbbells, those things are good, but they are not going to develop real strength the way
Right.
a
And-
barbell can.
And movement. You need to learn how to move properly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, you're doing these HIIT classes.
Yeah.
The assumption is that you already are moving properly. All your muscular imbalances have been taken care of. Because if not, then you're just reinforcing bad movement patterns, and
Yeah.
you're going to develop knee pain. You're going to develop shoulder pain, hip pain, back pain. You're
Yeah.
going to develop all these things because you're not actually moving properly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pliability.
Yeah.
Really, really, really
Get those
important.
hips in that full range of motion, especially if you're running, cycling, and doing HIIT.
Yeah.
You're probably not getting your hips and your shoulders in full range of motion on anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
everything's just kind of in the middle.
For sure,
So.
for sure. And then, okay, so we hit cardio, we hit HIIT. If I'm just doing strength training, I
Right.
want to.
Right. Well, I think we talked about what to do if you're only in the gym doing
Mm-hmm.
strength training, right? So you need to add stretching and cardio.
Stretching and cardio, and then
Yeah.
yoga, just to recap.
Add stretch and the cardio and
the-
strength.
The strength, yeah, add it all.
Add all the things.
Yeah.
Add it all.
Yeah. So, we have come up with a
Oh, yeah.
solution here.
So we noticed in our gym, we have a lot of runners and we have a lot of people with desk jobs.
Yes.
And so when they come in, we realize this is the only movement most of them are getting. If they're also running in addition, they're going to develop imbalances. So what we went to the drawing board and designed a workout that would address imbalances for a runner, but also for someone with a sitting job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it required a lot of work, but we've put something together. We're finding that it's very helpful.
Oh my gosh, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it out there. So we call it Three Peaks training.
Yeah.
Right. That's the style of training that we do here. And the three core tenets of Three Peaks training are submaximal effort,
Yep.
dynamic and controlled lifting,
Yeah.
and pain-free pliability.
Okay. So what is submaximal effort?
So submaximal effort is more of a philosophy
Okay.
that is based in science, but you do not ever go past 80% intensity in any workout. I know it sounds crazy.
I know
right?
this is going to blow people's
Yeah,
minds.
but if you are if you at the end of your workout you're laying on the floor in a puddle of sweat and you can't catch your breath and you just feel dead, that's not good.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's not good is we talk about this in almost every podcast, is what's known as allostatic load.
Yeah.
Right. So your allostatic load is basically when you have a lot of chronic stressors in your life. So it could be your boss is overworking you with all kinds of projects. And then at home, you got, three kids that you're running around here and there. You got to manage their schedules. And, you have an aging parent who you have to take care of. All of these different stressors
Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep is a huge one. Poor nutrition.
Yeah.
All of these things contribute to your allostatic load. And when your allostatic load is too high for too long, it leads to an increased risk of things like definitely injury,
Yeah.
joint injury because you can't recover properly, but chronic illnesses, increased risk of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, stuff of that nature.
So yeah, when you walk into the gym and you've got all that allostatic stress with you,
Yeah.
and then you pile a really hard workout on top of that, that's not helping you recover from all that stress. It's
Right.
too much.
Right, because the act of working out is actually a stressor, right? Exercising intensely is a stressor. The recovery from that stressor is where the benefits come into play, right?
Yeah.
And so if I come into the gym with all these stressors going on, and then I just pedal to the metal, go 110%, I am then contributing to my allostatic load in a way that makes it even more difficult for me to recover. And recovery, like I said, is where all the progress happens.
Yeah, that's where you heal. That's where you get
Yeah,
better.
Yeah, and so that's why a lot of times there's plenty of people who they work out every day,
Yeah.
right? And they never make progress. And it's like, well, let's take a look at all the other areas of your life,
Yeah.
right? Like you say, you're always tired. You get 4 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
You have 3 kids, so you're just ordering dinner every night instead of cooking, eating
Yeah.
vegetables and stuff like that. You have a crazy job. You're a project manager at, an IT contracting company or whatever. You have all of these stressors going on. The more you work out,
Right.
that's not going to help.
Right. I
And
mean, so to be clear, you can work out every day if you're in that situation, if you do it right. If it's
Right,
the
that's-
right kind of workout, then the workout is helpful.
right, and that's where bringing it full circle, that's where
Yeah.
submaximal effort comes into play.
Yeah.
Staying below that 80% intensity will make sure that you're okay. You could literally work out every day
Right.
as long as you stay below that 80% intensity, and it's going to be a net positive and net gain in the right direction.
We've got another podcast on this, so if
Yeah.
you want to know about,
Yep.
working submaximal, go to that podcast.
Yeah, so that's the first tenet. The second tenet is the dynamic and controlled lifting. So what's
Oh,
that
yeah.
all about?
So dynamic lifting is basically you're using a weight that shifts around like the real objects in your life.
Yeah.
So like a bag of mulch, bag of dog food, bags of frozen food, and a child, all
Yeah.
these, when you think about it, most of the things you pick up during the day do not behave like a dumbbell. A dumbbell is a bar with two identical weights on each end.
Yeah.
How many things in your life act like that when you pick it up?
Nothing.
Everything, right?
Except a dumbbell.
Except a dumbbell.
Yeah.
So we like to use weights that shift, like odd objects, like a backpack full of things. In our gym, we use a thing called a sand bell, and it's a circular thing with sand in it, and it shifts around. And a lot of people complain that they can't grip it, and it's
Yeah.
unstable, and it's awkward. We're like, exactly.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yep. And sandbags as well, which are kind of just like
Yeah,
a
big
bigger,
sandbag. It's like a book bag.
but
Yeah.
same principle, but just bigger.
Yeah.
And then the controlled lifting, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Do not rush. We are big proponents of controlling the weight. Don't let the weight control you. You should not just be speeding through your reps.
Yeah.
If you can't do the weight in a controlled manner, you can't do it at all.
Right. You're not really strong enough to lift it if you have to do it fast and do it poorly.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be lifting it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be lifting. It's just
Yeah.
ego at that point.
Yeah.
And then the third component is the pain-free pliability.
The pliability.
So what's that all about?
That's strength and that's stretching and mobility and a little bit of strength all rolled into one.
Yeah, we talk about this
Yeah.
in another podcast, but you
Yeah.
want to, ascending from your feet up, your
Yeah.
joints alternate between stability and mobility,
Yeah.
right? So your ankles are supposed to be mobile, your knees are supposed to be stable, hips
Yeah.
mobile,
Yeah.
lower back stable,
Yeah.
upper back, shoulders mobile,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And so when those joints are not acting in that manner and they're acting in the opposite manner,
Yeah.
that's when we can develop a lot of
Yeah.
pain.
That's when you get the pain.
Yeah, chronic pain that develops. And so the goal of incorporating pain-free pliability is to really mobilize
Yeah.
the joints that are supposed to be mobile. And then through the dynamic lifting that we're
Yeah.
doing, we are also stabilizing the joints that
Yeah.
are supposed to be stable.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and just to kind of give you just a little idea of like the workout structure, what's the workout flow? What does that work out? Like if I walk
Okay.
in to a 3 Peaks training class, what am I going to expect?
Okay, so yeah, we're going to take you through this, but if you don't live in our area, keep listening even though you can't come to our gym because look for something in your area that offers something similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they first come in, we start with a gear up, which is otherwise known as a warm up, and it's going to start from the feet going up. So they might walk for a few minutes, and then we go to warming up the calves, warming up the hips, getting that range of motion going. We might do some lunges, some calf raises. I'm looking at the board. All right. Then we're going to warm up the core. So we'll do maybe some planks or something to fire up that core.
And use the sand bell.
And then, sometimes we use sand bell during the warm up, and then we'll do pull aparts, get that upper body, the upper back warmed up, get it fired up, and get everything going. So then we move right into we're calling it core intervals right now. Coordination is another good word for it.
Yeah.
So that, we use the sand bells for that. And we do some movements where they're complicated movements where we learned to do healthy movements like bear crawls and core work, halo work, and really learn to move our bodies in efficient ways. And then we go into slow strength, otherwise known as control.
Yep.
And that's where we take a barbell and we do it to a tempo, nice and slow. Then after we do that movement, we go into the capacity section where we learn to work at 80% capacity. And we use objects like, sandbags and do the hanging and the pulling.
lots of hanging.
So you're breathing hard, but you're able to keep going. And then we do pliability at the end, where we do some stretches, but at the same time flexing the antagonist muscle to improve the range of motion and the balances.
Yeah, so really the whole point of this Three Peaks training
Yeah.
is it encompasses all of the different styles of training into one workout. So when you have your hit right at the
Yeah.
end, you have your strength in the middle,
Yeah.
you have all of your pliability at the beginning
Yeah.
and the end, and we're also incorporating unique ways to work your core, work
Yeah.
your balance, stuff like that, with the coordination aspect, that first peak. So this style of workout is perfect for offsetting that modern sedentary lifestyle
Yeah.
that can often lead to like back and joint issues and stuff
Yeah.
like that when we're hunched over too much. And because it's done sub-maximally, it's a workout that you can literally do every single day.
Yep, you could do this every day.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
burning out on
Yeah,
it. So
absolutely.
we are big fans, obviously, of the Three Peaks training here.
Yes.
So is what we do here.
Yes.
So like Lynette said, if you're not in the Columbia area, then, obviously try to look for a facility around you that does something similar.
Yeah.
You can play this podcast for them and say, hey, do you do this?
Yeah.
And,
Do you do movement training
yeah.
and dynamic weights and
Yeah.
slow strength?
Yeah, the slow strength.
Pliability?
Yeah. But no, guys, hopefully this was helpful and gave you some insight into the type of workouts you should be doing. And we will see you next time.
All right, bye-bye.